And hello, this is Eamon O'Brien from the Reluctant Speakers Club, and you're very, very welcome to another Hangout on Air. And today we're talking about attracting investment for startups. And we have a terrific fellow here who's going to give us lashings of advice on that. It is Shane McCarthy, all the way from Limerick. And here he is. Shane, hello.
You good? Good to see you.
And Shane, you are the the co-founder of Was Up, which happened recently in the Chemie School in Limerick, and also the co-founder of bluechief.ie.
Yeah, I mean, two very different things, both very alike together though. Blue Chief is a software startup down here in Limerick, and we do business software solutions. On the other hand, Was Up was an event I co-founded with really a host of people. It's an initiative and an event to try and bring startups together to engage and collaborate with, as you mentioned, investors.
And tell me, you had a fantastic success recently. You had really had huge numbers of people turn up for the event. You had a fantastic cast and array of people, advisors and experts who came from every corner of Ireland and further afield. What was it about, though?
Collaboration and engagement were the two key points. What we done, and a very simple point to make, is just ask. We asked a lot of people, yourself included, a lot of respected people across the startup industry in Ireland, people who are known for great advice and adding real value to people. And we just asked them to get involved in an event and an initiative that really was the goal of shining a light on the startup ecosystem throughout the South Midwest of Ireland, and trying to get people along that ecosystem, that corridor we call it, to understand who they are, what they do, and how they can engage with each other. Yeah. And then to get people like yourself, people like Ed Kavanagh, to give advice on their speciality of public speaking or how to present to investors.
Well, it was a fantastic day, I have to say, and I was really struck by just the whole positivity there. And I suppose that the thing that also struck me is that the climate for investment and for startup companies in Ireland, not just in Dublin but also in Limerick and elsewhere, is really, really hot. Why is that, do you think?
I think currently entrepreneurship and startups are seen as a way out of recession for governments across the world, and I think they're putting a lot of emphasis on funding startups. And there's big businesses like Grant Thornton, who sponsored the Was Up event, and BDO, and they're trying to get involved in startups. Like, they've created pools to fund startups. Enterprise Ireland, another one you have to mention, probably are, I don't know whether you'd phrase it that way or not, but one of the biggest VC pools in Western Europe. Like, it's huge, astronomically. Like, they're backing small, medium, large-sized businesses who want to get off the ground, who want to scale, or who want to internationalize, and that's phenomenal.
It is. And tell me, I suppose with so many different things going on in the day and a lot of talk going on, what were the key lessons that you took away that startups should really heed when it comes to getting money in the door and finding people willing to back them?
One of the key things I've learned, I suppose, throughout all this is a network. Building a network of people who can either introduce you to investors or who are investors, people who basically understand how this whole operation works. Like, if you're thinking about going to, I will take an example, the Web Summit, or hopefully Was Up next year, and just straight out asking an investor there and then listen to my pitch, you're probably the 50th person that day to do that. You have to build a relationship with that person. So people like Ian Lucy. So I met Ian 6 to 8 weeks ago. Now I've met Ian 5 or 6 times in the meantime. So Ian now knows a whole lot more about Shane McCarthy, but more importantly, knows a whole lot more about Blue Chief. So me going to Ian for investment, so to speak, as an example, 8 weeks ago, maybe it would have gone well, maybe it would not. But after Ian seeing what Blue Chief can do in creating something like Was Up, or being heavily involved in creating that, now he's got to be much more inclined to back a company like us, because we can execute and deliver.
I like the way you put that, because really what you've talked about is that you started a conversation and then you kept the conversation going.
Hopefully.
And I suppose that's one of the key things for almost everybody who's involved in a startup, is that, you know, you simply, nothing's going to happen unless you start the conversation. So get out there and make that happen.
Well, I'd put it in another example would be this conversation right now, Eamon. We can take it in relation to startups, but any aspect of a startup, whether it be investment, relationships, sales, networking, or even hiring your team, it comes from networks and relationships. Me and you started with just a question 4 or 5 weeks ago, and now we're having, after meeting at What's Up and me seeing you present and me telling you I will be coming back to get you again, we're now having this conversation, and I'm sure this relationship will grow. Yeah, this relationship will grow because, as you said, the conversation opened, and we'll keep it going. Much the same as you have to do with investors if you're in a startup. You just initiate it, but build upon that. Just because they like you doesn't mean they want to invest. Your one job, and that's to limit risk, and your second job is to make them a return. So
yeah, no, absolutely, and actually to that point, you know, you do have a number of jobs, and I suppose it would be interesting just to get your take also on things that you think startups need to avoid like the plague, the pitfalls, the things that will kind of get in the way of getting the monies they need.
I think one of the things I'm realizing anyway is that you have to segment your startup into different sections, and you have to, if you want to really succeed, unless you have a revolutionary project or product or service that's never been seen before, like blue ocean strategy kind of stuff, like breaking into a market that nobody's ever seen, like realistically you have to build and you have to address all these sections. So I know people who don't do networking, and that's a weakness, but they may be very good on product, whereas we may be slower on product at times, but we're very good at networking. So the key, I would say, is you have to address all aspects of your business, from your product to the network you're building, to the team that's behind you building this, to 6 months down the line, who are the key people you would point out that can help you scale your business then. So short-term objectives then, and long-term strategy.
Yeah. And tell me, thinking about that, you know, for those people who are worried about all of the work that seems to be involved in these things, for all of that, what would you say to those people who are worried that maybe their stories won't be that interesting yet? How would you encourage them to get out there and test their ideas?
Do it early. Like, if your story isn't that interesting, it's up to you to make it interesting. And I'm sure you, and again, or Ed Kevin are prime examples of that. You're people who can help people's stories sound interesting. Make it sound more layman's terms, so to speak. Like, we're a software company. I cannot go out talking software terms to people in certain industries that don't like it. You have to talk in their language, and their story has to be told the way they want it to be told.
You're absolutely right. The story is vital, because any investor worth his or her salt is really going to, first of all, want to get excited about the idea, but secondly, about your ability and your team's ability to make it happen. So they have to buy your story and also the story that you can see in terms of vision.
I think, in all honesty, the story is only selling an opportunity, and the execution is building strategy. Like you meet an investor and they want to like you, 2, they have to like your idea, 3, they have to like your industry. Is it that scalable? And then it's the opportunity itself. Okay, what have I to give in here? What have I to get out here? So there's a lot of different stories that are like built in together here. And your goal is to, as I said, it's really just to limit risk for the investor and to make sure that your story, make sure that the problem you have, and that this is one of the keys actually, that the problem you have is worth solving, that is big enough and it really needs solving. And then it's building a whole story around that and a product that matches that. And then you have the key components, it's just execution.
Yeah, no, I agree. And actually, one of the things we talked a lot about is that the problem is big enough, that there is real scale in your ambition. Finishing off with here's a rounded out question. If you think about all the things that you've learned now in startup mode, and you've done quite a few things, what 2 or 3 things do you know now that you wish you knew at the outset?
How important product market fit is. So no matter how embarrassing it is, and I really, really mean this, no matter how embarrassing it is, bring that product, service, app, or solution, whatever you want to term it, and put it in the customer's hands. They will tell you whether it's right or wrong, and they may not even know what's best for them all the time, okay, but they will tell you if that fits their industry like you think it does, because that's key, and that's really, really important, product market fit. Number two is how important building relationships are. And not just with funding and investment. No, that is key, it really is. But with people who can get you in front of those people, with media, with college, with third level who can get you future workers or who can work on projects with you. And the third thing I would say, and probably one of the most important, if not the most important again, is your team.
Yes.
You have to build a team that believe in your vision, that believe that you can lead that vision and you can achieve, and that you're open-minded. You're not just trying to be an authority, and you do have to be authoritative at times, but
yes, absolutely, yeah.
A culture that you create with the correct team, and I think you're measured for success. It's just execution.
Shane, that has been absolutely fantastic, wonderful advice. I knew it would be.
Thanks very much.
So, for people who want to know more about what you are going to do next with Was Up, where should they go?
They can check me out on Twitter and @ShaneBlueChief or @BlueChiefIE, on LinkedIn, Google+, pretty much on any of the social media sites, or on your YouTube channel now, I'm sure.
You're omnipresent. Well, good. Listen, well, thank you so much for that. Really, I've enjoyed it. I knew that I would. And we could probably talk startup for a huge amount of time, but we're going to keep it short for today. So thank you for today.
Pleasure.
And this is Eamon O'Brien, and I'm the founder of the Reluctant Speakers Club, and you have been tuning in to our expert series, and thank you. Thanks, Shane.
No problem at all, Eamon. Thanks very much.
Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.